Hi, my name is Nubisirianza Eze. I am the CEO and co-founder of Aerial Industries. At Aerial Industries, we manufacture industrial agricultural drones for the intensification of mechanization as well as the reduction of risks and adverse effects of agrochemicals to the health of farmers in emerging economies, Nigeria being our current focal market point. So we've looked at and the reason why every entrepreneur should be thinking and having a mind, politicking and lobbying, and why you should be involved in policy processes and why you should try to influence your policymakers because it'll help sustain your business so that you don't get trapped in that pilot phase. So the subject being romancing the policymaker. So now we're going to look at getting the framework right. You've gone as far now, you understood the community where your business is going to run. You've gone through the process of picking your inside man or your champion or your spokesman or whatever you want to call him, and you now have to make sure you have the framework particularly right. You run through your rehearsals. The core thing that needs to be addressed within all of this is that it's clear that you're creating value, right? Away from all the discussions that you're going to be having. Anytime that you approach anyone at this point with your product or service, you are discussing your influence to their life or their community. If you wait and hold off all that you've been doing so far until you get to that discussion table, you've already blown a lot of that leverage that you have. That process of actually preaching it out as you go along helps not only your team and yourself in really honing down that idea, but having other little indirect influences, if you may, of others speaking about this effort. Much of the framing of the discussions can be accomplished away from the discussion table is basically what we're trying to say here. You need to figure out where your walkaway points are going to be. There are certain points in discussions where you know morally or by whatever reason you can't go beyond this. Okay, so just never try to sell your idea to a government official unless you have the ability to walk away with reasonably good alternatives. This walkaway option is iterative, though. Depending on the dynamics, you can't really have a hard set walkaway that somebody says one thing and then you get up and you want to leave. No, there are core things that you have to see, and you have to be able to play around with them, but follow your guts for the most part. So give yourself the option by generating the interest of one technique I use, generate the interest of a second player. All right, so that in that discussion you can parlay that into some form of leverage when talking. Say, for example, someone in the lower house to someone in the upper house, mentioning that you have already had a discussion. So sometimes those kind of play in, but you need to be very careful, and you need to also, it's just one technique that has worked in some cases, and I could also see potentially not working so well in other cases. So everyone has some rival, right? So if you are getting them something before their rival gets it, it's always a good thing. Understand that the idea that you came into the community with may require a little bit of retooling. All right, so you have to develop your competitive intelligence into these, potential customers within the community, right? So you need to be able to determine how your product or service can best meet their needs financially or strategically or otherwise. And these are things that you're going to expect that when you're sitting down, you may not have encountered it so directly within the community, but these are going to come up when you're sitting down having those negotiations with the policymaker. This competitive intelligence involves being able to ascertain the motivations, the desires, the pressures and limitations that the legislator may be under. Figure out their position, figure out the pressure they're on, what is the value of the area that you're dealing with, your sector policy that affects the official's constituency. Know what is of importance and the timing for concluding the particular policy. If there's one that is sitting on the table, all right, just have some sort of timeline that you want to be able to play with these policymakers. Now you've prepared everything. You now need to know where to find your elected. You're going to go offline, you're going to go online, you go Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, are those, or is it LinkedIn, Twitter? You need to think through the whole round concept, right? Do you want to meet them is it a beer parlor? Do you want to meet them in a restaurant? Go to social functions? Now, it is important to say that connecting with members of the media is probably one of your stronger emphasis need to be on that grassroots network, all right? Being able to discuss and understand the everyday interactions within his community. When you engage them, it's good to be able to bring up the places that within his community that will make him feel like, okay, you're really truly part and parcel of their community. Building a healthy and useful network of professionals and positively amassing media support. So with zero political links, like I mentioned in our case, it just helps with establishing these grassroots networks. As more of them buy into your idea, then you have a bigger scope of influence and a louder voice, more or less, all right, that is backing you and your policy proposition. It is important to know and be where these politicians hang out and play. However, join when you have the means to sustain such a lifestyle, right? So you must plan towards it, that's for sure, because it's important. But whether you are a nerd or you are not, or whether you're introvert or extrovert, whether you're a people person or a tree hugger, you need to know where these guys hang out, where they play, and you need to be able to come out as yourself, whatever it is, and you need to find a way to engage them when appropriate in those kind of clubs and organizations. If you're going to start donating to their campaigns, donate when you have loose money to be able to do so, right? You need a team that will be able to do the time your donations appropriately and make sure that they follow up on it and make it worthwhile for your company. Okay, thank you.